Welcome to Motoring Fanatic. I appreciate you joining me. Hope you're having a great day. My wife and I have enjoyed sports cars for a little over 5 years now. We're smaller than most and don't need a huge vehicle to get around. The most of anything we put into our cars are groceries. It is extremely rare that we have any more than one or two others needing to ride with us. Extremely rare. Therefore, we enjoy sports cars while we can. The point of this video is that sports cars are, to us, sheer driving fun. I hope that these sports cars that we have had as daily drivers and trip cars can be used by you as good examples of what you might want as a fun and exciting car for your road trips. The fun that sports cars provide for us is that they have spunk, feedback from the road, and look very good. We also like sports cars because we are smaller. My wife is 5'1" and I'm 5'7". Our depth perception and other such judgments are better in a smaller car. This brings to mind the very important point that all of this is very subjective. What's good for me may be terrible for you. Comfort, reliability, pricing, fuel economy, and so on are aspects that we assign completely different values to. I rate the complete sports car feel, such as the ability to slice through mountain roads, as much higher as most anything else. You, on the other hand, may prefer your sports car to possess great fuel economy. All 10 of our cars are first based on looks. The sports car has to be as sporty as we can hope it to be. Second, our sports cars have to fit in our budget, including insurance, maintenance, etc. Third, the sports cars need to be reasonably reliable, not apt to break with every few months or require maintenance in short intervals. Requirements such as comfort is very high on our list. Although comfort is also very subjective, what we call comfort are cup holders, AC and heat, decent visibility, backup cameras, and navigation mapping. That's pretty much it. Oh, and the final requirement actually is safety. Since we drive back roads, mountain roads, and take long trips, we insist on good safety. Things like airbags tops the list. Another point is how well the car can take a hit. Given that we are talking about sports cars, that's a tough topic. Sports cars are often the worst in safety ratings. We have gotten a few sports cars that we're, really feel safe in, like the C8 Corvettes. Go out to the NHTSA website, try to find safety data, and there is none. You have to look at Insurance Institute for highway safety ratings. Oh, never mind. Sports cars are dangerous, period. Until recently, we have always had 3 sports cars at any one time in our stable. We had 4 for a short while. Wife had 2 cars and I had 2 cars. Normally, of the group we have had, one had to be the most sporty that our budget could afford. Typically, the Corvettes. According to other sources, the best vehicles for road trips are minivans, SUVs, diesel trucks, and whatever people used in cannonball runs, as an example. Here is the long list of most of the things that define a good road trip car. Heck, most any car really. Reliability, fuel economy, comforts, so on and so forth. So as I show you each of our 10 cars, I will place a red box around the bad qualities of the 10 cars that we have had. All right, time to show you our cars, starting with 2 from my wife's collection. The Camaro was really a great cruiser, a tough and rugged road machine. It had everything we needed. As the V6 trim RS, it got decent gas mileage for its age. The main reason we gave it up was because of the rough ride. As we got older, that mattered more. It did have a backup camera in the rear view mirror. It was a small image and we felt like we wanted it to be better. I don't recall having navigation, so we replaced the Camaro with the 2016 Jaguar. The 2016 Jaguar V6 Supercharged F-Type was very fun. It has been my wife's favorite car ever. We did extensive research as to the best car for her, and I did a complete video on best sports cars for short people while helping her find this car. It was truly a fantastic car that we regret having let go. Again, good mileage for a supercharged engine, had virtually all the items we desired. While it had Bluetooth for the phone and navigation, it got to be a painful car as it aged. The reliability began to wane. It had alternator, O2 sensor, and weird wiring issues for a while. The drawbacks for road use and everyday use alike was that I hated not having gauges for the battery, tire pressure indicators, and oil temperature. Just anything. It required you or a paid mechanic to put tools to the car to check it before heading out on a long road trip. Annoying. My wife cried a lot on the inside when we traded it in for another car. And that brings us to the Toyota 86 cars we have had. I got the Toyota GT86 in 2019. Drove it a lot and thoroughly enjoyed it. Good gas mileage, dependable, comfortable as a daily, and just fun as heck. Good reason they are used as circuit and drift racing cars, but it had a problem with the engine, which had a torque dip. When you accelerate it, would ramp up fine, then sort of stall for a short bit as it hit that torque dip, then barely finished increasing in power. Once I heard the 2022 GR86 was coming out, which fixed the torque dip by getting a slightly bigger engine and a new tune, I was sold again. I got the 2022 GR86 and love the 86 even more. This car turned out to be either the most or second most driven and road trip sports car we have ever had. What a wonderful car. All of the 86s are easy to maintain and are very cost effective in every way. The only critiques I have for us little people is that the ride is a bit harsh or stiff. There is some road noise, which doesn't bother us, and the seats are not overly comfortable for extensive hour-long drives. When we take the 86 on a trip, we keep the back seats down flat. That gives us a large cargo area. Partly increases road noise too. The Toyota 86 has everything we need, including easy to see gauges for water and oil temps, battery, and tire pressure. We love the car enough that we traded in the Jaguar F-Type for a 2024 GR86 to continue our enjoyment of this model of sports car. One last point is that the 86 is inexpensive enough that I don't worry about it getting hurt, and the insurance is great too. I also feel at ease knowing that my wife can easily see out of it very well. Similarly, the older Corvettes have been very good cruisers for road trips. All 5 of the ones that we have owned have been a joy. My wife enjoyed my 2005 C6 Corvette enough that I found a salvage title 2000 C5 Corvette as a test to see how she liked it. And like it, she did. It was ultimately the reason I later bought her the 2016 Jaguar F-Type. The 2000 C5 Corvette was in the same power range as her 2013 Camaro RS and the 2016 Jaguar F-Type. It certainly had a different feel and sound. Eventually, I added a K&N cold air intake and a few little mods. We only took it on short trips. My wife used it for grocery runs and other errands. I took it to some car meets. I had it extensively worked on by Brian of Yellow Jacket Garage, which is also a YouTube channel. Eventually, my wife and I decided that she really liked the Corvette, but wanting something different. She wanted us to have variety and for her to have something better than an older Corvette, which is why we got the 2016 Jaguar. We gave the C5 Corvette to a work buddy of mine. He had earned it by being a great friend, war vet, and knowing he just didn't have the finances to have a car that he dreamed of having. The car that started everything with us pursuing strictly sports cars was my 2005 C6 Corvette. I had worked hard, saved, invested as much money as possible, and finally had the means to afford my dream car, a Corvette. I learned a lot from this one Corvette, driving fast and safe, so much about car modifications, how to fill the car, and if it's running well. I got back into doing most of my own maintenance with it. I had a mid-range cam installed as well as a cold air intake, street performance racing transmission, long tube headers, high flow cats, MagnaFlow cat back exhaust, performance brake pads, track rotors, lots of suspension parts, C7 style aluminum wheels, and there's probably more I'm forgetting. The Corvette was dyno tuned for over 550 horsepower and over 500 torque, which made it tail happy. So I had to be careful not to fishtail. It remained a great cruiser for several years, but it wasn't always reliable. It went into the shop for actual repairs a few times, all due to aging parts. It was driven a lot and hard for a long time. I seriously loved that car. I decided I enjoyed the C6 Corvette enough that instead of moving to a C6 Grand Sport or Z06 or just anything else, I would just get a newer base model Corvette. I got a 2016 C7 Corvette 3LT with a full carbon fiber package. It was amazingly pretty. It was so vastly better than the C5 and C6, especially for back road drives and long road trips. This Corvette had everything I could ever desire at the time. When I got the C7, the 2020 C8 Corvette was about to come out. So this C7 was a placeholder for when I knew I would get the C8. I drove this C7 like there was no tomorrow. I still hit all the car meets, car cruises, back road drives, and long trips without blinking an eye. And the reliability was golden. I could hop in it and go. We took this wonderful sports cars on some of our longest trips, thousands of miles road trips, long enough we had to get an oil change once before getting home. What a jewel of a car. It had wonderful range, partly due to the active fuel management system, which I didn't like, but man did it help increase the mileage. Could see plenty of gauges. The driver's display was configurable to allow for more user information. The infotainment screen had more functions and the navigation was hugely improved upon. Even had the secret compartment behind the infotainment screen. Furthermore, how well it performed made it an easy choice for road crushing back roads. It made me want the C8 more and more as the C8 got closer and closer to my attainment. I did end up getting the 2020 C8 Corvette Stingray 3LT with a Z51 track package. Absolutely wonderful car. Here again, it is extremely subjective as to if you prefer front or rear engine cars. I personally prefer rear engine sports cars. The looks are also very subjective. I love it. Despite what haters say, it does carry over a lot of the design cues from the previous C7 generation and drives so much better. The luxuries packed into the C8 Corvette are notable, but similar again to the C7 Corvette. It had the heads-up display, dash camera, which is more than that, heat and cool seats, navigation, cup holders, multiple driving modes including wet weather and economy tour. Speaking of economy, the C8 Stingray has active fuel management, as did the C7. Therefore, it could shut down half the cylinders and get much better gas mileage. We were always able to achieve over 27 miles per gallon on most any road trip. The C8 Stingray ride was extremely good. It had Tour, Sport, Track, Weather, My Mode, and Z Mode. In economy or Tour mode, the car glided over bumps and cracks seamlessly. In Tour mode, the exhaust sound is also muted. In fact, the cab is well insulated. The back glass between the cab and the engine bay was specifically built to reduce engine noise. The C8 has good safety features. The weather mode assists greatly for those terrible weather moments. Airbags, side blind zone alerts, front curb view camera, collision alert, valet mode, etc. Plus, the handling of the car is superb. Without a doubt, the C8 is also much easier to see all around the car. Using the rear view mirror, which is a full-blown camera as its default selection, and setting the side mirrors angled out a little more than usual, you can achieve a full 360-degree visual around the car. I love it! The seats are very comfortable. They are heated and cooled. And a huge point for my wife was that she could adjust the seat high enough for her 5'1" height and be able to see in front and around the sides easily. The C8s are very good cars for short stature people. Good for tall people too. One of the things I miss most from the 2020 C8 Corvette, since we no longer have it, is that it was a solid car. Okay, not completely solid. It had an AC leak, big hole in the system inside the cab. They had to remove the doors and front dash completely to get to the problem. Associated with that and how we found the hole was basically because the PDR or the dash cam died. The AC leaked water onto the PDR CPU. I took the C8 in for that reason first. Then I basically located the leak and they took it from there to get it all fixed. Some people complain about the C8 reliability and quality, but I completely disagree. The C8s are honestly solid, wonderful sports cars, if not a supercar. For other features, it is simply a newer car, therefore the features are improved. One thing I really like is being able to see all the gauges I want. You can quickly configure the driver's display for almost every vital gauge for your situation or desires. If I am on a long cruise or fast spirited drive, I can set up my display with gauges with the water temp, oil temp, transmission temp, and oil pressure or tire pressure. Wonderful! Two other car-related YouTubers, both with yellow Corvettes, drove my C8 Stingray and absolutely loved it. I appreciated Brian's opinion. He has the Yellow Jacket Garage YouTube channel. Because he has driven Lambos and the Ford GT often in his past, he gave the C8 a big thumbs up. Maintaining the C8 has been easy enough as well. I did most of the oil changes and air filter change. I went to LG Motorsports and helped put in more transmission fluid as well. I can go on and on about the C8 Corvette. We have done more in the C8 Corvette than any car we have ever owned, except maybe the Toyota 86s. When the C8 Z06 came out, I was very interested. Undoubtedly a supercar. The Z06 is a good $20,000 or so more expensive. For me, when I got my C8 Z06, it was about $50,000 more, while my 2020 C8 Stingray was a top trim level Corvette. So is my 2023 C8 Z06. Plus my Z06 had or has even more features, making it almost the highest trim level possible. I've already done virtually everything with it that I had with the C8 Stingray and other cars. No difference there, except that I have yet to take it on a very long road adventure. I have done car meets, car shows, day-long trips, car cruises with others, and so forth. Up to this point, it has been a solid car for my first year of ownership. Again, I do all of my own maintenance. The reason I haven't taken the Z06 on a long trip yet is because I'm a little bit fuel economy sensitive. The Z06 gets about 20 miles per gallon. As for meeting all the requirements for a great road trip car, fuel economy is the only negative I have so far. And because it is a really high trim level, very expensive, at least to me, I'm not keen on getting out on a long trip yet. I have PPF'd it for the whole front clip, which makes me much more comfortable about driving it in town and around dump trucks, hay trucks, and cattle trucks, etc. That almost inclines me to driving it long distance. And it has all the same great amenities as a C8 Stingray, which helps too. The suspension isn't too harsh for long drives while in tour mode. Chevrolet knew that people that wanted a fast supercar sports car would also want it for road tripping. I also bought the Z06 for that supercar engine. The biggest flat plane crank V8 that sounds glorious. And man is it fast. It shreds on the straightaways and cuts curves like a scalpel. Amazing car. Supercar. In summary, we have enjoyed all of our 10 sports cars, even if not perfect. They each provide a sense of excitement while on the road. We've been capable of doing well on back roads, mountain roads, and highways. Some just better than others. As for reliability and usefulness, the 2013 Camaro, 2005 C5 Corvette, 2016 Jaguar, and 2005 C6 were not up to our standards for what we ultimately wanted. We simply prefer newer cars. The Toyota 86s, C7, and C8 Corvettes have been hands down the most fun and reliable cars we have owned. Yes, minivans, trucks, SUVs, and cannonball run type cars might be even better than our choices. Heck, Google says so, therefore it must be true. But I want to enjoy the feel of the road, have some excitement in the car that I'm driving. Safely, of course, but real fun on car cruises, back roads, through mountains, at car shows, going to museums, and on and on. I hope you enjoyed this rundown of our 10 sports cars and supercars within the last 5 years. And with that, please relax, take it easy, be a motoring fanatic, and enjoy your great cars. And I will see you later. Bye.